while I was working with Seymour's logo in the previous tutorial, I noticed a kerning problem, and I thought to myself I could use this logo and then a couple of others that Zeynep made to make a very short thing that relates to kerning. There will be more about kerning. I will make a separate big tutorial for kerning because it's an important topic, but here I'm just going to go into a few things. Now, this here has definite kerning problems, and where they occur, they all have to do with the A, because the A, the uppercase A, is a problematic character for kerning. And then there's one that's even more problematic, which is the L, the uppercase L, because that has a huge space on the right-hand side. But here we have the A, and both A's are giving us problems. So the way that I would fix these is I would hold down the Alt key, and I would first of all move this A over, like about so, so that this space here becomes roughly equal to this space here, and all of the others need to then be adjusted to that. This here, now that I've moved this over, seems to be okay. This A definitely needs to come in, like about so, and then we are left with this problem here, because now this space between the U and the R is a bit too narrow, so that needs to be opened up. And when we have done all of this, then the kerning of this looks almost right, very close. I think, let me just check again. If I look at this, then maybe the rest of these need to come in a bit more even. So let's see. And the space between the T and the U also definitely needs to come in more, but probably not quite this much. And this needs to come in more. So now we have something that is almost correct. So if I were to go back here to this, so you can see the difference, right? You can see the big holes here, which are now resolved. So now let's come down to this one here, where we have the problem again, this time with the T, because of the nature of this. And my cat is scratching the sofa here, so if you hear some noise, don't worry about it. He's just being obnoxious. The way that this T has been designed, the way that the font designer designed it, he made this crossbar very, very wide, much wider than we would normally make it. That's one of the characteristics of this font, and that's actually what's giving us the problem here. And then there's a problem between the R and the A as well. But in addition to that, I'm wondering whether, let me just close this for a second, whether with this logo it might not be better to actually have a much tighter kerning. So I'm actually going to do that now. Let's see. Double click on this and then open this. So Zeynep made this 20. I'm going to narrow it down. In fact, I'm going to narrow it down quite a bit more. Let's see, 75 looks about right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then go in again with the Alt key and bring these. You don't want it to overlap, you just want it to touch a bit. Bring this in. Again, you don't want it to overlap, you just want it to touch. This needs to actually come out a bit, it's too close. This then needs to open up a bit. This area here seems to be okay, but this needs to open up a bit as well. So when you do this, so again, let's go back in the history, and so this is what it was like, and this is what it's now like, and I think that the tighter structure, the tighter kerning, works much better together with this leaf. And as a matter of fact, what I would do is I would take this, move it over a bit, and then of course also align it to the middle of the icon, like so. So this then becomes a much better, more solid shape. And because it's a very thin font, it needs that solidity. It needs to come together more. So again, let's go back. So it was like this, and now we have it like this, and I think with the tighter kerning and a bit more space, it does in fact look much nicer. Now let's come down to this one here. Now with this one, there's a problem with the icon that I'm going to go into later, however. I'm going to make a separate tutorial about that. But just to give you a hint, this icon reminds us very strongly of malted drinks, of wheat, of things that have to do with wheat and barley and things like that. So for example, it would look good on a beer label or something like this. But I'm going to go into that later about appropriate icon usage, so I'm going to forget about it for now. Now with this one here, again, although this is a very bold font, and so you might think that it would be okay to have, oops, sorry, I'm in the wrong place, I need to be here. I think that, again, it's 20, she sort of seems to have left things at default 20, which is not a good idea. You need to think about kerning for each thing separately. I think if this comes in closer, it will look better. So let's see. So how did we have it? We had it like this, and I brought it in like this, and I think it could even use becoming even closer. So I have it at -50. What happens if I take it to -100, but then just open them up a tick, and maybe even create a ligature here, so that you have a ligature between the T and the U. I think that might work very nicely as well. However, we have a lot of open space here, and I want to close this up without affecting the others. Or let's see, what about if I open this up a tick? This I think can stay where it is. Open this. I don't want to lose the ligature, however I may have no choice. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think I do have a choice. I need to open that up because of this big space here. I need to think about this big space when I'm adjusting all the others. So in fact I need to open this up a bit more as well, and this a tick more as well, and also this a tick more as well. But I do want to have the ligature. So what do? Very simple. We add something into that area. So I need to add a box. And because of the pixelation, I'm going to bring it all the way over here, but then just move it over, and now I've gotten myself my ligature. Now let me see how far can I get away with bringing these in. Now this shouldn't be happening. That's my big problem. But let me go back here and move. I'm going to move the box over in a second. That's no big deal. Now, what I need to do is, in order to make this right, I need to make a copy of this, go back here, delete the A, and then go back here, delete everything else, and bring the A over. And I held down my shift key so that I moved exactly in the right direction. And then I'm just going to open it up just a tiny little bit. And what I would probably do, if I was seriously working on this, I would probably convert all of these to paths and play around with the with this part of the R, so that it became like a continuation of this, and play with this part of the R so that it became a continuation of that, and then move this back over, and etc, etc. However, I'm not going to go into that right now because that's a whole separate topic, but I may just use this thing here to make a future tutorial that addresses that issue about how to convert type to paths and then play around with each letter individually. Okay, that's it. Bye.